Good evening. Queen Elizabeth, Britain's longest reigning monarch and the nation's figurehead for 7 decades, has died at age 96, Buckingham Palace announced today. Buckingham Palace said in a statement that the 96-year-old monarch passed away peacefully this afternoon at Balmoral Castle, the royal family's estate in Aberdeenshire, Scotland, where she had spent the summer. Earlier today, Buckingham Palace announced that the Queen had been placed under medical supervision after doctors became concerned for her health. All the Queen's children, including Prince William, were reportedly at her bedside. Prince Harry and Duchess Meghan were also said to be on their way to her estate. Taking the throne on February 6, 1952, the Queen ruled the realm for 70 years. She was, however, crowned on June 2, 1953. In June, she became the second longest-serving sovereign monarch in history. She reigned on the throne for 70 years and 214 days, second only to Louis XXIV of France, who became king at the age of 4. Meanwhile, her eldest son, Charles, 73, automatically becomes king of the United Kingdom and the head of state of 14 other realms, including Australia, Canada, and New Zealand. His Majesty King Charles III has become head of the Commonwealth, an association of 56 independent countries and 2.4 billion people. For 14 of these countries, as well as the UK, the King is head of state. These countries, known as the Commonwealth realms, are Australia, Antigua and Barbuda, the Bahamas, Belize, Canada, Grenada, Jamaica, Papua New Guinea, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, New Zealand, Solomon Islands and Tuvalu. King Charles III and the Queen Consort will remain at Balmoral this evening and will return to London tomorrow. In the meantime, following news of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth's death, Prime Minister Andrew Holness expressed profound sadness. He said in a statement, quote, "We join our brothers and sisters in the Commonwealth in mourning her passing and pray for the comfort of the members of her family and the people of the United Kingdom as they grieve the loss of their beloved Queen and matriarch," end quote. Opposition leader Mark Golding, in expressing condolences to the House of Windsor and the people of the United Kingdom on the passing of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, said, quote, "The world mourns the passing of Queen Elizabeth II. For many all around the globe, she has been a symbol of decency, stability, and continuity throughout our lives. She was a much respected and lovely lady," end quote. Now, our news team also went to the streets to get the reactions of the public on the passing of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, and this is what they had to say.
It's sad, being that she have been serving for so long. I mean, at the age of 96. I mean, I personally thought she was older than that, being that she has been so strong and been serving us. I mean, well, not us directly, but being that, you know, that the Governor General is linked with the England government. So it has been, I mean, it is sad again, and we have lost a strong woman, and she stand for so long. I mean, 70 years of service, that's long. So I mean, it's sad, but she did well.
Well, I was very shocked to hear that she passed. You know, it was a big thing in my work area, but how do I think it would if affects the economy? I mean, I thought the Governor General would be her right hand, so I don't know. I guess no, we can fully say that we're fully independent in some sense. So
it's another life gone. I'm sure that she have close ones to her that, you know, are feeling some hurt. The thing is, personally, I'm not feeling much emotion, you know, and it based on a lot of things, you know, a lot with the treatment, you know, slavery and all of that, and I think the scant regard shown by the British, I would say. But as I say, you know, I'm saddened then, basically, that her loved ones would be hurt for her passing.
In other news tonight, residents living in and around the community of Hopewell in Hanover are calling on the Hanover Municipal Corporation and the councillor for the division, Devon Brown, to address the grave situation at the Hopewell Cemetery. The residents say they are being charged thousands of dollars by the municipal corporation to acquire a spot for their loved ones who have died, but upon entering the cemetery, they are greeted by a tropical forest. The concerned residents say that the cemetery is in such a bad state that almost every single grave and tomb is partially or completely covered by bushes or large trees. People's National Party councillor caretaker for the Hopewell division, Jeffrey Brown, told Mello TV that as far as he can see, the Hopewell Cemetery is not being maintained, although large sums of money are being collected.
Coming here this morning looking at this cemetery, it is a national disgrace. To see people who have developed this community, this is their final resting place. And this is what they have to be going through. Persons coming here cannot find their loved ones, overgrown vegetation. This cemetery was given to this community. But because the community cannot run a cemetery, because the cemetery is run by the municipal corporation, now each time a dead is buried here, they had to pay money. So all these years, I want to know where the money is going. No sort of maintenance, no sort of development. There's no road, there's no water, there's no bathroom facilities. Some years ago, Dr. D.K. Duncan put in a bathroom facilities here, right? They took the doors off and they took the window and they took the toilet. So there's none here, right? We have a councillor here for 10 years. This is a clear indication that he has no development plan for the community. The man coming blind. So I'm calling on the councillor, Mr. Devon Brown, to pay the Hopewell Cemetery some attention.
Another community member, Craig Oates, also called the cemetery a disgrace while making note that it shows the lack of planning on the part of leadership from both the Hanover Municipal Corporation and central government.
Disgraceful. Good morning, everyone. It is disgraceful, the condition of the Hopewell Cemetery. This cemetery, and it shows a lack of planning on the part of the leadership, both the municipal corporation and central government, because Sandy Bay Cemetery has been closed for years and years, right? What we have now is dead from all over being buried in Hopewell Cemetery. So not only is the cemetery full, the cemetery is now overgrown. People cannot find their loved ones. And I know that politicians go to all these grave diggings and all these funerals. But I wonder if they come here to look. Because if they come here to look, it is sad and it is shameful that people have to come to search for their loved ones. And we cannot continue like that as a society. Cemetery not being clean, garbage not being collected, roads not being fixed, no pipes in water, no jobs. That is a recipe for disaster, you know. And I'm calling on the Prime Minister of Jamaica, Mr. Andrew Holness, and even to a lesser extent, Mr. Mark Golden, to sensitize them that these are the social issues and the social ills that is plaguing the society, and it is going to lead to a state of anarchy. Because if the dead cannot rest in peace, then the living will not rest in peace.
He challenged the relevant authorities, such as the councillor for the division, to visit the cemetery and have a look because it is very shameful. Mello TV made attempts to get a comment from the Hanover Municipal Corporation and Councillor Devon Brown, but all our attempts were unsuccessful. However, we will bring you more on this story in subsequent newscasts. Continuing with the news tonight, sections of Arnett Gardens in St. Andrew are now tense following a murder at the Paradise Court Apartments yesterday evening. The deceased has been identified as Timothy Shedden. According to residents, Shedden was sitting outside the apartment when he was approached by men on a motorcycle who opened gunfire, hitting him to the upper body at about 5 p.m. He was assisted by residents to the hospital where he later died. There was another shooting incident in Arnett Gardens the day before, where 2 men were shot and injured in a drive-by on West Road. However, no fatalities were reported. Still making Mello TV news. With the announcement of the CSEC and CAPE results, the data has shown an 8% decline when compared to last year due to the CAPE exams seeing fewer subject entries, with 49,417 CAPE subjects submitted overall. Highlights of the CSEC and CAPE results in June and July of this year for public and private schools was released by the Minister of Education and Youth, Favour Williams, while speaking at a press conference held yesterday.
So the preliminary analysis of the CAPE, the Caribbean Advanced Proficiency Examination results showed overall of the 35 subjects entered in 2022, Unit 1 had an average pass rate improvement in 15 subjects, while Unit 2 saw average pass rate improvements in 18 subjects. And when we talk about pass rate, we're referring to the number of students who are successful in the exam. The data also showed that there were fewer entries in some subjects when compared to subjects in 2021. So there was a total of 49,417 subject entries for Units 1 and 2, and that was almost an 8% decline when compared to what happened in 2021. Of that number, 93% of the subject entities were sat with an average pass rate of 88.5%, again meaning 88.5% of students who sat these subject entries were successful.
Minister Williams also commended the male students that have seen a higher percentage of passes when compared to females in various subject areas.
We did some comparisons in terms of males versus females, and in many subject areas we're seeing a good pass rate among our males. So for example, in art and design, 100% of the males that took that pass relative to 97.4% of the females. Biology, 94.4% of the males that took that pass versus 92.6% of female. French, 100% of the males who took French pass versus 95% in female. Green engineering, 70% of the males that took that pass versus 50% of the females. History, 95.1% of the males versus 95.1 versus 92.8. Logistics and supply chain operations, as you heard earlier on, overall that was one of the kind of lower pass rate that we saw, but the males outperformed the number of males who took this and passed was 57.4% versus 40% of the females. 100% of the males who took Spanish passed versus 96.2% of the females, and in tourism, 98.3% of the males who took it passed versus 97.4% of the females. Those are good percentages, for our males, and we want to encourage them along in these various subject areas.
Minister Favour Williams also announced that out of the 46,727 candidates registered for CSEC exams, 91% sat the exam, with 71.7% passing at least one subject with grade 1 to 3.
So in May, June of this year, Caribbean Secondary Education Certificate CSEC exams were held. Jamaican candidates were entered for 34 subjects. A total of 46,727 candidates were registered to sit the exam, of which 28,658 or 61.3% were females and 18,069 were males. Of those who entered, 91% approximately of the candidates sat the exams. Of that number, which is 42,488, 76.7% passed at least one subject with grades 1 to 3. A total of 26,259 females sat, and 20,327 passed at least one subject, while 16,229 males sat, and 12,244, or 75.5%, passed at least one subject with grades 1 to 3.
Still tonight, in bringing awareness of trees to the youth of Jamaica, the National Tree Planting Competition was launched yesterday. Minister without portfolio in the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation, Matthew Samuda, outlined the impact of trees on health, climate change, and the planet.
So this is an excellent initiative that acknowledges and recognizes the important role our schools have in making sure that our children are not just highly educated, but highly conscious of the role that they have within our society, within our country, and certainly within our world. Trees are critical to our future. Every living being is directly or indirectly dependent on trees. They nourish and protect us. They capture carbon dioxide, they provide water, they keep the earth cool and balanced. Their shade protects us from extreme heat and sunlight. Anyone watching the news now can tell you that most of Europe is in crisis. Quite a bit of the western United States is in crisis. Trees are our greatest tool against climate change. Climate change, as I say every time I get the opportunity in front of a mic, is not a future concept. The reality is our climate has changed, our weather patterns have shifted, and we are already seeing the impact of human action on our environment, and we're facing that impact economically. We're seeing it with the loss of human life, and we're seeing it with the deterioration of human health. Trees filter gases and pollutants. They clean the atmosphere, they provide us necessary oxygen. They are the most critical element for life. Trees act as the lungs of our planet. They also purify the air that we breathe. Air quality is one of the biggest issues that affect human health. This move is a direct attack on the varying diseases that are respiratory diseases that are caused by poor air quality. This is a particularly important investment in our youth. It's a particularly important investment in this initiative.
The primary objective of the competition being undertaken in collaboration with the Ministry of Education and Youth is to expand the reach and participation of Jamaicans, especially youth, in the NTPI. Mr. Samuda further stated that the economic growth cannot outweigh environmental protection and welcomed the partners in meeting the targeted initiative to restore what was damaged.
We believe in sustainability. We fundamentally believe that the economic agenda for growth cannot be decoupled from the agenda for environmental protection. The two go hand in hand if we're to have sustainability, if we're to build resilience within our society. So Jamaica said we will join this coalition. But functionally, we didn't just say we're going to join it and sign our names to a paper. We have done the work over the last 5 years or so to make sure that we are living up to that. So this 3 million tree planting initiative is critical to restoring the other areas that require restoration. There was marginal slippage in the primary forest, right? So even though we have growth in our secondary forest cover, there has been some slippage in our primary forest. So we have a lot of work to do. So this protection of what we have is critical, and ensuring that we restore at a rapid rate what we have damaged is also critical to our future. It is critical to our habitats. It is critical to our biodiversity. It is critical to our agriculture. It is critical to our very economic prospects. So I thank the partners who have contributed financially. I thank the staff of the Forestry Department who have worked tirelessly to form this competition, to do all the work that you've done on the NTPI and with all you do to protect our forests. But we have so much more to do. We don't have a lot of time to do it. A lot is made about climate departure. We are nearing that in parts of our island. We have to work around the clock. It's work that many people won't understand, but this is a particularly important initiative. Getting schools active and competitive on it will indeed help us to meet our target. I thank you.
The CEO of Forestry Department and Conservator of Forests, Mr. Ainsley Henry, encouraged the youths to aim for healthy competition that will bring about more awareness while meeting one of NPTI's mandates of planting 1.3 million trees.
This competition represents our latest innovation to encourage and facilitate greater participation in the National Tree Planting Initiative. And this promotion specifically targets the youth, who are the future of our country. This by seeking to engage schools at all levels of the education system and tertiary students. This launch today was intentionally set for the start of the new school year, recognizing that with new beginnings, there are new opportunities. And today, through this promotion, the Forestry Department is providing an opportunity for healthy competition between schools. Healthy competition that will result in lasting benefits for our country. It is our hope that this will help the agency to achieve or target one of the targets of the NTPI, which is to facilitate the production and planting of 1.3 million trees in suitable locations across the island through partnerships. Through this competition, we partner with those who will most benefit from the trees being planted. They will benefit through improved climate resilience and increased green spaces. And we partner now and engage our youth because when they become adults, these trees will have matured and they will be the beneficiaries. This engagement today will help them to propagate and plant trees in their communities to secure a cooler, greener, healthier, and sustainable environment for the future. I challenge our students to be ambitious in their targets and innovative in their approaches and activities. The sky is the limit where this target is concerned.
The National Tree Planting Initiative to plant 3 million trees in 3 years was launched by Prime Minister Andrew Holness on October 4 in 2019. As of September 1, 2022, a total of 1.4 million trees were planted under the program. Still tonight, Jamaicans have a chance to actively join the fight against breast cancer by participating in the ICWI Jamaica Reach to Recovery Pink Run. Title sponsor, the insurance company of the West Indies, ICWI, made the announcement yesterday during the official launch event held at Toyota Jamaica in Kingston. The annual charity race event is back on the radar after suffering an unexpected 2-year hiatus due to the pandemic. The highly anticipated 5K run walk takes place each year in October. Globally, October is recognized as Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and Corporate Jamaica has paid homage to survivors over the years through various initiatives each year. Carolyn Graham, Executive Director, JR2R, says she is grateful for the support from the ICWI while expressing the need for support from other corporates.
Now, this run was named the Denise Thwaites Run in honor of Denise Thwaites, who was the founder of Jamaica Reach to Recovery. The race was held at Stadium East, and it did well, and it became an annual event. Every year in October, there was a run to raise funds for Jamaica Reach to Recovery. This year is special, not only because we're back to almost normal conditions, but because it is the 20th renewal of the run. 20 years is actually an anniversary, the 20th anniversary of the run. But this year, we're getting into a more relaxed mode. We're going to Hope Gardens, and it's going to be a family fun run. It's not going to be a chip time competitive kind of run. We're aiming for families to come out and have fun. It's going to be on October 30th. Now, we also are hoping to get you to wear special gear. So if you look at the table over there, you'll see we have T-shirts and socks and caps. So we expect to see, there Mickey's holding one up. And there are the socks and the caps. So we expect to see you all decked out in our merchandise for the run.
Danielle Cunningham, Beverage Marketing Manager at Lasco Distribution Limited, is inviting all Jamaicans to be a part of this year's staging.
We know that the need for breast cancer patients is very real, and we will be really and truly pushing, as I mentioned, to encourage our Jamaicans to come out and support. We will be hydrating, as I mentioned, at every K, we will be there. I do not run, so I will be the one walking, not even jogging, I'll be the one walking. But I know that at every 1K, we will have some kind of hydration available because we know that it's important to keep you going. And we have been with this program for 5 years, and this is our 6th sponsorship, and we're happy to be a part of it.
Still tonight, the Pan American Health Organization, PAHO, is finalizing arrangement for the acquisition of 100,000 doses of monkeypox vaccines from biotechnology firm Bavarian Nordic for distribution to Latin American and Caribbean member countries. PAHO's director, Dr. Carissa Etienne, says the entity secured an agreement through its revolving fund facility with Bavarian Nordic, which is headquartered in Denmark, to provide the vaccines. She said this followed requests from member countries for support in accessing doses, which were made during a special session of the PAHO Directing Council in August, noting that 12 such were submitted. Dr. Etienne added that their effort will permit countries in this region to access the vaccine even in small quantities, which would not have been possible otherwise. She was speaking during PAHO's digital media briefing yesterday. And those are the stories making news. I am Shelley Hill. Do stay safe, pleasant viewing, and thanks for watching.